Hi, Waseca Public Schools staff, students, and families. I wanted to send a message this week to give you some updates on where we are with our learning model plans, with our COVID status as far as positive cases, and what we're looking at for the rest of this school year, at least as we know of this very moment. First, we've been very pleased with the way our students, staff, and families have been responded to the mitigation strategies we've been implementing as we come back into our hybrid learning model. Right now, since the beginning of January, we've been averaging less than 5 positive cases at any given time, active cases for our staff, students, and exposures in that regard. So we know that what we're doing right now is keeping kids and staff as safe as we possibly can, and we hope that we're able to keep that up in the coming weeks. We returned all of our students to hybrid learning, kindergarten through 12th grade, as well as our pre-kindergarten students, and so we're excited to see them back in our buildings more often. Our kindergarten through 3rd grade students are in their building 4 days a week, and now starting next week we are continuing to plan to bring our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders back 4 days a week into their hybrid model. And then we know that we're looking at strategies for in the next several weeks bringing our high school students hopefully back 4 days a week as the virus and our strategies allow us to do so. That's very good news as we get our kids back to school, in-person learning. We also know that distance learning works well for some of our families, some of our students, and so that option continues to be available for any students that need that option in their situation that works for their family, and we'll continue to try to get better at serving those families in that regard as well. Right now, we are working on continuing to implement vaccinations for our staff. You may have read that Minnesota is implementing a pilot program for individuals over the age of 65 and educators. Well, that volume of vaccinations is relatively low right now on a weekly basis. We're hoping to be able to get our staff access to that as quickly as they can so that we can continue to, if they choose to, have access to the vaccines. We also know that testing opportunities continue to be increased throughout the state and in our schools, and so we hope that people are able to get tested when they need to, so they know if they need to quarantine or isolate and be able to give themselves the time to know that they're either safe or to recover if they do have symptoms, moving forward with that. It's been an interesting school year to this point. We're coming up on the halfway mark of our school year. We have conferences coming up for our 7th through 12th grade students next week, and our elementary students, kindergarten through 6th grade, are returning back to 4 days a week. So we know that there's some milestones coming up here. Our students have returned to activities, and to this moment we have not had a significant issue with students having to be quarantined or exposed via activities. So we know that we need to continue our strong mitigation efforts by wearing our masks, by keeping socially distanced whenever possible, by making sure we're washing our hands, and just using good hygiene and making sure that we are staying safe. We also ask that when we do need to be quarantined, that we follow through with the quarantine. That means staying home, staying away from the events that I know are challenging to stay away from. But if we can manage this pandemic the rest of the way by managing our quarantines and reducing the number of positive active cases, then that's going to benefit us in the long run. I am looking forward to the next few months because I know we're going to have our students back in school on site as much as we possibly can. We know that there's going to be situations where we may have to work through some positive cases, some quarantines, and I don't know, we can never say for certain that we won't be having to go back to some distance learning for a period of time. But I know that if we work together to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to keep our students and staff safe and really do a nice job of mitigating this, the pandemic in our community, we can keep our kids on site as much as possible. I'm looking forward then this spring to think about strategic planning, about the facility needs in our district, about what we're doing in terms of staffing and planning for budgetary needs for 21-22. Yes, 2021-22 school year is on our mind as we're thinking forward. So I want to thank you for all of your support and all of the questions and the comments and the conversations that I've had and we've all had over the last several months as we've navigated this different type of school year. I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm seeing some better days ahead, as our signs say on our walls and our windows, because we know right now that if we continue to manage this the way we have, then we should have opportunity to finish this school year as a strong one. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and I look forward to seeing you soon, either in a building, in the community, or an activity.